Have you ever noticed that the things you try hardest to control are exactly the ones that slip away from you the most? Your fingers tighten, your mind insists, your heart clings with desperate force, and yet everything seems to slide even faster through your hands. What if I told you that your need to hold on is precisely what's keeping you from having? There's an ancient wisdom, almost forgotten in this world of accumulation and anxiety, that whispers something disturbing to the ears of modernity. You are not what you possess. You are not what you control. You are not what you force into existence. You are exactly what emerges when you stop trying to be. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? How can I be more by doing less? How can I find myself by stopping the search? The answer lies in understanding that you were never lost to begin with. Think about how we live. From the moment we wake up, we're at war. War with time that's never enough. War with bodies that are never good enough. War with others who never completely understand us. War with ourselves who are never who we think we should be. We build fortresses of control around every aspect of life, believing that if we can just hold tight enough, if we can just meticulously plan every detail, we'll find that peace we're so desperately seeking. But peace never comes, does it? Because we're looking for it in all the wrong places. The uncomfortable truth is that you were taught, since childhood, that you are a problem to be solved, that there's something fundamentally wrong with you that needs to be fixed, adjusted, improved. Society has sold this narrative so well that you don't even question it anymore. You wake up every day as an unfinished project, a work in permanent construction, waiting for the moment when you'll finally be ready, complete, worthy. But that moment never comes. And you know why? Because you're already complete. You always have been. Ancient Eastern philosophers observed something fascinating about water. It doesn't try to be water. It doesn't wake up in the morning wondering if it's being water enough. It simply flows. When it encounters a rock, it doesn't fight against it, doesn't try to move it with brute force. It flows around it, and over time, without apparent effort, it transforms even the hardest stone into sand. Water teaches something we've forgotten. Power isn't in resisting, but in allowing, not in forcing, but in flowing, not in holding on, but in letting go. Now, you might be thinking, but if I let go of everything, won't I lose everything? If I stop controlling, won't chaos take over? That's the great illusion. You believe you're in control when, in reality, you're just creating the illusion of control. And that illusion costs you everything. Your peace, your spontaneity, your joy, your very life. How many times have you perfectly planned a day and it fell apart? How many times have you tried to control how someone feels about you and only created distance? How many times have you forced an outcome and it came out even more twisted? There's a profound difference between acting and forcing, between flowing and resisting, between being and pretending. When you act from a place of authenticity, without the neurotic need to control the outcome, something magical happens. Things begin to align, not because you're manipulating circumstances, but because you're in harmony with them. You become like the surfer who doesn't fight the wave but dances with it. He doesn't control the ocean, but he's found the wisdom to move with it. Think about the happiest moments of your life, those moments of spontaneous laughter, deep connection, absolute clarity. Were you trying to control something in those moments? Or were you completely present, completely loose, completely alive? Happiness never comes when you chase it. It appears when you stop chasing. It's like trying to grab smoke. The tighter you close your fist, the more it escapes. But when you open your hand, it can dance freely around you. The ego, that incessant voice in your head that's never satisfied, is built entirely on the idea of control. It needs to prove itself. It needs to be right. It needs to be recognized, validated, admired. And it will spend all your vital energy on this impossible quest, because the ego is never complete. It always needs more money, more status, more approval, more certainties. It lives in a constant state of lack, always chasing the next thing that will finally fill it. But nothing fills it, because the ego is by nature a bottomless pit. Now, here's the plot twist that changes everything. You are not your ego. You are the consciousness that observes the ego. And that consciousness doesn't need anything, doesn't lack anything, isn't trying to prove itself, it simply is. When you start to perceive this distinction, when you can watch your thoughts instead of being dragged by them, something fundamental shifts. You realize you can let go, not because you've given up, but because you finally understood there was nothing to hold on to in the first place. If this idea is already resonating with you, if something inside is recognizing a truth you always knew but never articulated, stay with me. This journey goes deeper than you imagine. But let me tell you something about the process of letting go. It's not a single grand decision. It's not waking up one day and declaring you've let everything go. It's constant unlearning. It's noticing 1,000 times a day when you're tightening, controlling, forcing and gently loosening your grip. It's like untying an extremely tight knot. You don't pull hard, you work with patience, finding each small loosening, each space of release. Start by noticing where you're gripping right now. Where in your life are you holding so tight that your knuckles are white? Maybe it's a relationship you're trying to force to work. Maybe it's a career you're pursuing not because you love it, but because you believe you should. Maybe it's an image of yourself you're exhausted from maintaining. Maybe it's simply the tension in your body, the shoulders you keep raised as if you're carrying the world. Life has its own rhythm. Seasons change without our permission. Tides rise and fall without our approval. Your heart beats without you needing to instruct it. Your lungs breathe while you sleep. Everything in nature works through cycles of expansion and contraction, of holding and releasing, of tension and liberation. You are part of this nature. You're not separate from it. But somewhere along the way, you were convinced you needed to manually control everything, that letting life flow naturally was irresponsible, dangerous, naive. Here's a truth that the culture of control doesn't want you to know. Your attempts to control the future are robbing you of the only moment that truly exists, which is now. While you're obsessively planning tomorrow, worrying about next month, trying to secure next year, you're completely absent from your own life. And ironically, it's precisely this presence in the now that creates the richest and most meaningful futures. Not because you planned them, but because you were completely alive to seize them when they appeared. Letting go doesn't mean not having goals. It means not being attached to outcomes. It means doing your best and then trusting. It means planting seeds carefully and then allowing them to grow in their own time, instead of digging them up every day to check progress. It means working hard, but without the neurotic tension of fear of failure, because when you're no longer clinging to a specific outcome, you're free to dance with whatever shows up. But there's an even deeper secret that few know, a layer that goes beyond simply releasing external control. It's about letting go of the need to control who you are. You spend so much energy trying to be an edited version of yourself. You censor your thoughts, monitor your emotions, judge your impulses, criticize your reactions. You have an internal editor working overtime, ensuring you're never really you. And all of this under the disguise of self-improvement. Here's the revelation that can set you free. You don't need to be fixed because you were never broken. All that internal struggle, all that conflict, all that self-rejection is based on the false premise that there's something fundamentally wrong with you. But what if there isn't? What if you could simply be without all that layer of judgment and effort? What if the person you're desperately trying to become is blocking the person you naturally already are? When you release the need to be someone specific, something extraordinary happens. You discover who you really are, and that person is infinitely more interesting, more authentic, more alive than any fabricated version you were trying to construct. That person doesn't need constant approval because they're not performing for anyone. That person isn't afraid of failure because they're not measuring their worth by success. That person is free. And here's the final paradox, the truth that closes the circle. The more you let go of the need to be something, the more you become everything. The less you cling to your identity, the more flexible and expansive you become. The more you release control, the more genuine power you discover. Not power over others or over circumstances, but the power to be completely present, completely alive, completely you. The journey of letting go is, in fact, the journey of coming home. To the place where you've always been, but from which you got distracted. To the being you've always been, but which you covered with layers of duties, expectations, and fears. And the most beautiful part is that you don't need to get anywhere. You just need to stop running from where you are. So let go. Let go of the image you think you should project. Let go of the future you think you need to secure. Let go of the past you think defines you. Let go of the control you never really had, and see what remains, because what remains when everything artificial falls away, when all masks are removed, when all effort ceases, is exactly who you've always been. Pure presence, pure consciousness, pure life happening through you. Not because you deserved it or earned it, but simply because you exist. And in that simple, naked, unprotected existence, you're finally complete. Not because you achieved something, but because you finally stopped running from yourself. You're home, and you realize you never needed all that struggle. What you were looking for was patiently waiting for you all along, hidden in the only place you never looked, in the silence that appears when you finally stop trying. If this message touched something in you, if you recognized in these words a truth that needs to be lived, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a like, comment what resonated with you, subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of self-discovery. And most importantly, share this video with someone who's struggling too hard, who's gripping too tight, who needs to hear that it's okay to let go. Because the greatest revolution you can start isn't changing the world, but stopping the fight against yourself.